You know, that's something that's really hard to remember for a streamer. Is like the loud minority in your chat, like in your chat, like, or like someone just like one man, like one guy who's just being kind of annoying. There's also like hundreds or even thousands of people that just don't even look at the chat and they're like, yeah, I don't know what he's even talking about right now, and they just kind of like just focus on you, you know. Actually, you don't want to know. You want to know something interesting, and you know what's really actually very, very interesting. I actually kind of want to tell you guys. I don't really get into quote big streamer drama, but I don't even know if I consider this big streamer drama. But have you guys seen the clip? Have you guys seen the Pokey clip that went around the last like day, where she talked about how she has like a team of people that like basically block and mute anybody who like shit talkers in her replies and all that stuff. They basically filter out all the shitty like comments and stuff. It's genius. It's actually so smart. And there's like a lot of people that like think it's a bad thing, but it's like, I've actually told you guys this before. It's actually a really good thing. Like most creators, I think, when you start to really grow, will fall apart if you give that stuff attention. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it for you. This is actually like low-key genius. Ready?
Biggest secrets that I'm gonna reveal right now, okay? I don't think I've revealed this before. So you say like your mute list is expanding, and here's the thing, my block list expands too. But here's the other thing, I'm not even the one blocking people. Like if people say some weird shit in my replies, on God, 90% of the time, I don't see it.
Dude, I have this is so genius. This is one of the smartest things I've ever heard.
My account blocking people for me. And so when people are like, when like, oh my God, Pokimane blocked me, blah, 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 I'm like, it wasn't even me.
This is so smart. It's actually unbelievably smart. Even in something like Overwatch, it's actually insanely OP. Because there are so many people who like legitimately like get off to being like banned by certain streamers or creators or whoever it is. And it's like, dude, like people wear that shit as like a badge of honor. But imagine though, it's like, imagine like you thought you had that much power over somebody that like they blocked you, but it wasn't even them. It wasn't even them. They never even saw what you said. You know, it's like, oh my God. It's like, that's genius. That's so smart. That's so smart. And like, the reason I think it's smart, right? There's a reason why I think it's smart. The reason I think it's smart is, obviously people are like, well, like, you know, like it's, you should just learn to ignore it. It's like, at some level though, you can't. Like at some point it gets to be too much. And this was actually a big this is something I learned from Jane. And for those who don't know, I used to look up to Jane a bunch when he used to stream a lot, and I talk to him every once in a while, and I think it's like actually a very fascinating thing to look back at, like what happened to how he was probably one of the most loved people in the Overwatch community to like turned into like hated by so many people by doing what people wanted. Everybody was like, go pro, go Overwatch League, go coach an Overwatch League team, whatever. Gets into it, team doesn't do well, and blames him for it. But then people wanted, like, you know, they wanted spice, they wanted drama, they wanted the league to shit talk, they wanted people to like care, right? They wanted like esports drama. So he took it as a content creator on himself to like try to drum it up. And then people were like, nah, fuck you, you're a piece of shit, you know, like, you talk shit, blah, 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 your team's trash, or whatever, you know? Was he hated? I wouldn't say he was hated, but by the end, by the end, there was a lot of people who did not like him, you know? And then, like, people dunked on him and meaned on him all the time. And it did turn fast. It turned very fast. And I think there's a lot of people who don't realize that or didn't see it. And there was one big mistake Jane made, in my opinion. And it's something I learned from hearing what he said, is one day he admitted on stream that he reads every comment. And I think that was the beginning of the end, was that day. Because people realized the power they had. If they left a shitty comment on his videos or his Twitter or whatever, he always saw it. He literally basically handed the keys to his mental to the internet. And I was literally some nobody. I was on the outside. I was actually still breaking into Overwatch I was in Overwatch League technically. I worked in the Boston, the Uprising office in Gillette. So like I wasn't even Overwatch League. I was on a team's end of Overwatch League, working with all the fucking old geezers that run NFL shit, and they don't even know what esports is. They just thought it could make them money. But even I'm from way out there, out in fucking Narnia, could look in and go, holy shit, this is bad. Like, this is fucked. And so, I can only imagine how much worse it was on the inside. So, like, people sit there and they're like, you know, like, oh, just, like, you should learn how to deal with it, or, oh, whatever. It's like, dude, that's absolutely their right, though, to protect their own mental health. Like, it's absolutely the right. And if you think, like, no, you should just deal with it, it's like, one, it's not you. You don't get to decide that, right? Like, you don't get to decide, like, oh, you should just deal with it. And two, if you really, really feel adamant about it, right? It's like, why? Why do you feel so adamant about it? It's like, if you're not someone who does that, it shouldn't affect you, right? It shouldn't affect you. And it's like, if somebody wants to spend money on that, that's their right. Like, isn't that like kind of like, you know what America's about? Like, capitalism is like using your money to buy what you want, good or bad, right? So like, why care so much? I think I know the answer, but people don't. It's a very shitty, you know. It's fucked though. It's actually fucked. I don't really typically like keep up with big streamer stuff like that. Like, at least on like stream, sometimes I'll see stuff on Twitter and whatnot. But like, that was actually one that I was like, holy shit! Like, I actually understand it, you know? Because like, dude, the amount of times we have to do shit like that. Dude, you know how many videos I've tried to upload of like cool people or whatever where we've had to like filter comments like crazy because like people shit talk them in the comments, and I understand how human nature is. And it's like, if you end up being in a video of mine or someone else's, the last thing you want to do is watch a video where I was like, hey, I enjoyed like playing with this person, they were kind of cool, or they had good interactions, and then you go to the comments and everyone says like, you're a piece of shit, like, oh, I hate your voice, oh, they played like shit, whatever it is. Like, dude, those things are fucking annoying, you know? Never mind, I want to deal with it. I want other people to deal with it as well, you know? And so, dude, there's so many fucking levels to this shit. It's insane. You want to know a secret? This isn't really a secret. I don't really care, to be honest with you. I don't even actually know how to access unban requests on my stream. I've never done it. I've never even touched the button. Never once. I've never read a single unban request. The only time, okay, that's not technically true. I've only ever read an unban request when it ends up in mod chat because it's funny and the mods are like, holy shit, look at this absolute psychopath. That's the only time I've ever read one. Because people will write articles, like literal essays, like to me, like as if I'm the one who's making the decision. I've never made the decision once. Never even looked. Respect is so rare. Well, I think people just don't realize that there's still another person on the other side. You know? It's like, quote, people will go, oh, big content creator, they should just know. And it's like, because they have more followers on a social media, they should be holier than thou and understand. Yeah, no, that's just stupid. But it was very interesting, and I'm also glad that I can talk about it now before like season 3 starts and drops, and because you know it's gonna bring in more people that are like want to argue about that shit. So just stuff I find interesting in my day-to-day. The drop NPCs, Jesus Christ. To be fair though, there is actually a lot of cool people that come in from drops. Like, the drop stuff is awesome. Like, there actually is like tons and tons and tons of new people. It's just a very, very, very vocal minority, to be honest. But to be honest with you, like, that's why when people come in sometimes, they're like, I love your TikTok, like, your comments are terrible. I'm like, what are you talking about? Never read a single one. I'm like, what? I go, never read a single one. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I opened that? Like, why the fuck would I open that? That is the worst idea on the planet. Like, you're like, oh, hey, you got the most unhinged, unmonitored platform in the existence of humanity in social media. And I was like, dude, do you think I want to read that? Hell no. What the fuck? The issues Fots equals North equals humor and Emong equals. I mean, everybody has different ways of dealing with it, but like at the same time, everyone like pretty much universally agrees. Like, there's obviously different ways. I've actually talked about this with others and like our philosophies in dealing with it. Because I've had the philosophy, right? Like, I don't let it stand because I don't like it. I don't want it to deal with it, and I don't want it to be like people to think like that's okay.
For the great streams, keep
right?
up the great work.
But there's also a fine line to walk. Because if I, quote, make a spectacle every time somebody is, like, an absolute shithead, that almost encourages it to happen more, right? Because if that's a way to get attention, then, you know what I mean? Like, it would happen more often. But, like, that's why, like, 95% of the time it's like, mods deal with it, gets ignored, whatever. But every once in a while, it's like, okay, I've seen this been building up for a while. I've been seeing, like, you know, it's not just like one or two offhand every once in a while. I'm talking like every time I shift over, my eyes back over, I always see at least something that's sitting there. And it's like, okay, we're getting to the point where people have just kind of not realized that, like, you know, this isn't Overwatch forums where you get to, like, say whatever the fuck you want with no repercussions. Like, it's time. Where we kind of light someone up, you know? And then it typically dies down again after a while, you know? Like, when was the last time I had to light somebody up on stream? It's been a little bit, right? And things have been calm. Things have been good. Of course, you get the occasional just, like, random trolls and shit, but, like, that's not real. Like, that's just random shit, you know what I mean? Like, random passing. But, like, we're talking, like, a true light up, you know what I mean?